What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Run Your Race with my boy, AJ Richardson.
Good morning, beautiful people.
We got consistency, people. We got consistency. AJ is here again. He's back. But, people, we got a very special guest here today. Very special guest. First pod. Very first pod. And he chose Run Your Race because we the best podcast out there. People, we got Monty Williams.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Y'all.
Man, we can't thank you enough for getting on, trusting us to be your first podcast that you ever been on, and we're truly honored. Played against you in a mental battle, even though it was a tough one for you, great one for me. But we definitely appreciate it, and I can't wait to hear your journey, your stories, and how you got to where you are today. And before we got on camera, just talking about the piece of after this is how many years you said? How many years in the NBA?
Yeah, so coaching? This past year was the first year I haven't been a part of the NBA since 1994.
1994.
Yeah.
And just having that release and just getting there and just time to just decompress. And for that long, we'll get to it, to just talk about, actually, let's just talk about it now. Talk about how important what you discovered after that long, a time of just stepping away and relaxing for a second.
I think for me, I had to step away from it to have a perspective of how immersed my mind and my heart and my whole being was in the NBA, and how much I lied to myself about turning it off. You think you're turning it off in the off season, but you don't, because you have players in the building, or you're prepping for the draft, or you have Vegas Summer League, and then you may take 2 weeks off, but those 2 weeks when you're on vacation with your family, you're writing down concepts and getting ready for coaches meetings, and the years just go by. And I remember my first wife, Ingrid, when we were in various cities when I played, she used to be on me about enjoying it. Because I was just working to stay in it. And you become, it just becomes a part of your life. And some of it is survival. Some of it is, I would imagine a lot of it is insecurity. And if you're not careful, it just becomes who you are. And when you spend, and not all of it's bad. Like some of that work ethic and some of the sacrifices allow for you to be a part of the league and make teams and get certain jobs and become a head coach. Like that's a part of it. But I think if I had to be totally honest, like there was so much of it that I didn't compartmentalize in a proper way. And so this past year, when I got away from it, it was a revelation for me, like how immersed I was in the NBA life.
That's a long time to do anything. To do anything, and going from playing to straight into coaching. You know, it's like, how did you even balance your time management with family, your career, your personal life? Like, you know?
For me, I'd read Tony Dungy's book, and I tried to adopt a number of his concepts. I listened to somebody talk about Bob Stoops, and he had put a rule in as a coach. He wanted all of his assistant coaches out of the office at a certain time. Whenever their families were having dinner, they had to be out of the office. So I adopted rules like that, values like that, but I'm not sure I implemented them myself. It was always for everybody else. My first wife had an unbelievable way about making sure when I was home, I was home. Like it was a peaceful place. And there would be times when I'd come home and I didn't turn coach off. And so I'd come into the house and it was like, pop, 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 pop. And she would walk up on me and be like, brother, you need to go upstairs and take a nap because we need dad, not coach. And it taught me, I had to figure out how to turn it off on the way home. And what I started doing was I would go for a walk. I'd get home, I'd grab my dog or dogs, and I'd go for a walk. I'd come back, and it was a way for me to pray, think about the needs of my wife and my kids, and then we go on with our day. If I just walked into the house right from practice and I carried something that happened in practice home, it could be destructive.
For sure.
And so now in my new marriage, I had a little bit better balance, but I don't think I had the perspective that I have now, having taken a year away from the league and now I'm coaching high school.
Right.
My high school day is about 4 hours long because all I do is coach a high school team. I'm not there in the office all day. I'm not talking to analytics. I'm not talking to medical. I'm not meeting with management. I just coach a high school team, and then I go home and I'm with my family.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really understand the differences in where I used to be and where I am now. I don't think I would understand it as clearly because my mind is just not caught up in, you know, who's going to get traded or are we going to keep this guy or, you know, which assistant do I need to help get an extension? You know, I'm not thinking about that. I'm totally immersed in my family, and I get to chase my boys around the country and drive them crazy now.
It's crazy because I'm sitting here thinking, like, being a player and understanding the toll. It's hard to turn it, and I can't even imagine for a head coach because you can't turn it off.
Yeah.
Because as a player, you just got one job to go perform. You have to make sure you have to make sure all 15 are taken care of.
Yeah.
But then you got the coaching staff.
Yeah.
You talk to the front office, and you're having to always think about these things because who are they going to come to the next day? They're coming to you with all the answers.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine. It's hard to ask you to turn it off.
Yeah.
It's tough to ask you to say, all right, can you just relax for a second?
Yeah.
And because you got a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. If you don't, you get fired.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though, like I did have my my getaways. Like I love to fish.
Gotta have those.
And so I would take my kids fishing or I would go by myself. Like that was my time to like get away from it. Even though you think about it, like I can get out there on the water and I can be working a topwater plug or I got a Carolina jig and I'm thinking about that. And if I happen to catch a nice bass or something like that, or I you know, land a nice bluegill, like my focus went to that.
Gotcha.
I love playing golf. I can play 9 holes by myself and be at total peace. And it was a getaway for me. But the thing that I really enjoyed was being able to come home, turn it off, and have really cool organic moments with my family.
That's big time.
Like if we're just sitting watching TV and something comes on TV or we're watching a game and we just start talking about something, like those are the moments that allow for me to turn it off.
Gotcha.
But I think the thing that helped me more than anything was getting fired in New Orleans. Because the New Orleans job was a really cool job for me, and I had it morphed into different ownerships. And the leader at the time when I got fired was Mickey Loomis. And when he fired me, he did it in such a cool way and he made me think about some things. And I had to admit to myself that I wasn't myself there.
Gotcha.
I think I spent so much time trying to be like Pop. And it took me a minute to like come to that conclusion. You don't really want to admit that, but when you get fired, like it's the shucking down of the corn, if you will. And you have to like admit some things. And I think when I got to Phoenix, I was probably more myself, and I learned to delegate a lot more. We had Kevin Young and Willie Green and guys on our staff that were smarter than me, and I knew that they were going to be head coaches. And I learned that I was a bit freer and fresher if I could just give them responsibilities. And then I had Chris. Like the beautiful part about that situation was Book was Book in Phoenix. He was just a monster. Ricky Rubio probably doesn't get enough credit for ushering in that few seasons we had with Chris, because he was the one that set the table for Chris to come in, and then we just did that. Having people like that around you and allowing them to do their thing probably allowed for me to be a bit fresher. In New Orleans, I wasn't. I was like, I had to do everything.
You were never turned off.
I never turned it off.
Yeah.
And I had Chris there my first year.
Yeah.
And him and David West and Jared Jack and Willie Green, like we had a good Trevor Ariza. We had a really good crew, but then those guys left.
Yeah.
And so when they left, the team got younger and I felt like I had to do everything. And I probably burnt out there. I shouldn't say burnt out, but that's a bit dramatic, but I probably would have been a bit fresher had I not been so insecure in that position.
Yeah.
And Mickey, the talk that we had when he fired me was really good for me. And it forced me to come clean with myself. And so when I got the opportunity in Phoenix, I was like, okay, I need to be me.
Yeah.
I can't be Pop anyway.
Right.
Right? Like I can't do that. I learned a long time ago, if two of us are alike, one of us isn't necessary.
Man.
And I've always prided myself on being uniquely me. But for whatever reason in New Orleans, I thought like I can be successful doing it the way he did it.
Yeah.
And he'd be the first one to tell us, all of us who've come through there, like, be who you are, that's good enough. I didn't adopt that in New Orleans.
Would you say it was more of you're just trying to prove it?
For sure.
And I think that's where it kind of sounds like, because it's like, it's hard for you to, it's all hindsight's 2020 all the time.
Right.
But I think the Lord puts us in position all the time for these situations. He didn't put you there. He knew you can handle it.
Yeah.
So in that moment, it's hard to tell yourself, all right, I need to delegate. But you're trying to prove I'm worthy of being the head coach for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
I mean, not Pelicans, it was Hornets at the time.
The Hornets first and then the Pelicans. Like, for sure, I think anytime when you become the head coach, you're in the middle of so many. Like, you're talking to the owner, I'm talking to management, I'm talking to medical, I'm talking to the players. Sometimes I got to talk to an agent. There are times where shoe companies come to town, and you're in the middle of that.
Yep.
There are often times where you have to talk to a parent about something. And so that can become, you don't realize how much you're giving out to people. But it also, if you're not careful, it can be really lonely.
Yeah.
Because you're in the middle of a lot, and then you have practices and games and travel coming every single day.
Yeah.
And for me, when I was there, I didn't understand the delegate part. And so instead of allowing Randy Ayers, who was one of the, not just assistants, he was like my truth teller. I didn't ask him to do more, because he was certainly more than capable. He had been a head coach longer than I had. And we had different coaches there that could have done more. By the time I got to Phoenix, I was like, okay, if I don't learn from this lesson, I got no shot.
Yeah.
And I won't last long in this business. So I had to like ask myself some tough questions, you know, because we can all rationalize stuff, you know, but there's a difference between a reason that sounds good and a sound reason.
Yeah.
You know, when you really like are honest with yourself, it allows for you to, you know, ask yourself some tough questions. And I didn't want to fail that, even though you fail in this position a lot. I didn't want to fail that again.
How did playing help?
Yeah.
Coaching.
I think the playing part for me was having an understanding of what guys are going through on many levels, and also seeing through stuff that like guys don't think you see through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like I could tell the guys who hung in the training room a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I've been around guys who did that, you know. When guys came to me with stuff, I had a different perspective on what they were asking me, even when they didn't understand what they were asking me or trying to facilitate their question. I got it, because I understood when a guy was nervous about his spot.
Yep.
And he wanted to, Coach, can we go out to eat?
Yeah.
Well, I knew that he was worried about minutes and we were approaching the cut date. I think I had a bit more empathy for that kind of guy.
Got you.
Because I was that kind of guy too.
Right.
I think I hope that I had an understanding that I wasn't a star or a superstar. And I think I learned having Chris in New Orleans, like I just had to let Chris be Chris.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't try to bottle him up and put too many rules on him, because that would that would stifle him.
Right.
And Pop taught us a long time ago. He's like, if the rules stifle the talent, you got to change the rule. And what I didn't want to do with him, because I wasn't him, I wasn't D West. So I had no way of knowing what that drive was like to the gym.
Yeah.
But I could tell you what it was like to be that player.
Yeah.
And that player, because I was that guy. And I think being a player allowed for me to understand that a little bit better. That doesn't mean guys or coaches that didn't play can't understand that, but that was my perspective.
Got you. So playing in the era you played in, and then going from the 90s to the 2000s to the 2010s, how are you adjusting the transition of the game?
Yeah.
Because as a coach, especially now, you have to adjust. And an adjustment period is very tough.
Yeah.
What was the maturation? I don't even know if I used that word right.
Yeah, for sure it is.
How was that for you? How did the game change in your eyes as a coach and as a player? How's the game changed?
I think, when I came into the league, the pace was so much slower. There certainly wasn't much emphasis on the amount of threes.
Yeah.
The physicality was something that was totally different for me, even coming from college. College was physical for me, but when I got drafted by New York, and we had Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Anthony Bonner, Charles Smith, Herb Williams. Like, those were our bigs. Pat Riley was our head coach, and Jeff Van Gundy was my stable coach. And so there was nowhere for me to run.
Nowhere.
It was the most physical, like, I'd never gone through anything like that. In practice, we had no out of bounds. So when the ball, like the first time I experienced it, the ball went out of bounds, and I couldn't save it, so I just stopped. And like 2 or 3 guys went chasing the ball out of bounds, and I realized, like, this is different.
It's a whole different
It was a totally different deal.
Yeah.
We did skin drills in practice.
What's that?
Like, Coach Riley would line us all up and throw the ball out, and whoever got the ball was out, and everybody else lined up again, and he'd throw it out, and whoever dove and got it, they were out.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
until the last guy.
Oh, God.
We did bull in the ring.
Yeah.
You take a charge here, take a charge here, take a charge here. We practiced 3 hours and 15 minutes every day. Like, that was what it was. And so you fast forward to, let's just say, my time in Phoenix, not even New Orleans.
Yeah.
Our practices, and we were probably a team that practiced longer, mostly because Chris and Book and Mikhail and Cam, like, they were guys who loved the gym, loved to practice, and we tried to make our practices efficient, but it was still like 1 hour and 15, maybe 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
I think the communication piece is probably a lot different than it was back then. Like, I always knew, like, I'd be in my office and I got my TV set up and I got my notes, and ever so often my phone would ring. It'd be Chris. And
sounds about right.
I pick up the phone. I'm like, "Hey, Chris, what's up?" Coach, what you doing? I'm like, "Chris, you know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
What you want, Chris? Coach, we're tired. Okay, Chris, I'll give you guys tomorrow off. Like, but you have to understand, like, Chris and I have a relationship that goes past basketball.
Yeah.
Like, our families are connected in North Carolina. There's so many connections there, and I trusted Chris to tell me what was going on without violating the relationships he had with his teammate. Like, he had the best balance that way. And his teammates will never know how much he stuck up for them with me. Like, if I was too hard on the guy, Chris would be the first one to tell me. If Book was like, say Book had 48 points and I subbed him, Chris would walk up to me in a really cool way and be like, "Coach, don't take Book out right now." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "We're about to win." And he's like, "Coach, he's about to get 50.
Yeah.
And it never dawned on me. And so if you're asking, like, what was the change? I don't know if players had that kind of relationship with coaches back. They may have, but I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Chris was so good for me and good for them. The practices were different. The physicality was different. The way the game is called, the spacing's different. Challenges, like, nobody even thought about that back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
How many times you get,
Yeah, like today, that's a dance.
That's a dance.
It's like
literally.
there they go.
Yeah.
How we traveled, totally different.
Yeah.
Like when I came in, we stayed at Marriott's. Coach Riley probably changed that because his team stayed at Ritz, but most teams stayed at Marriott's. So it was different. And then I would listen to the older guys tell me about flying commercial.
Yeah.
And that was a totally different deal. So there's so many aspects that are different. But I think the biggest difference is how young the league is now.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I got drafted, I was 22 years old, and I was still the youngest on my team.
Man.
Oof.
As a head coach, I've had, even as an assistant, I've had guys in Portland that were 18 years old.
You 22 now, they probably call you Unc.
Look,
that's crazy.
You're already pensioned.
Yeah,
you know
literally.
What I mean? Like
literally
22.
You're on
like,
the second contract.
Yeah, you're on your second contract.
That's crazy.
I was a rookie at 22, and I was still the youngest on the team.
Talk about playing with those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, special.
That's some names.
Them some Hall of Famers.
Yeah. For me, I can't thank those guys enough. Like when I still text with Patrick, I still run into guys from time to time. I see Anthony Bonner at Peach Jam because his son plays. I also had Doc Rivers. I had Derek Harper. Myself and Charlie Ward and Doug Christie and Hubert Davis were the younger guys. Greg Anthony was kind of in between. Those guys taught me stuff that probably helped me as a player and as a coach. Gotcha. I learned that the locker room was sacred. I learned how to eat. Yeah. I learned how to work because you thought you did until you were around real pros.
Right. Sure.
When you walk into a practice facility, because no one had practice sites back then, you walk into a facility and you see Derek Harper with an aloe vera juice jug in his hand all over the gym. He carried it around and he would just swig aloe vera every day. When you see Charles Oakley running a mile or two before a 3-hour practice, you realize like this is different.
Different beast.
And those guys, I got drafted to a team that was trying to win a championship.
The championship or bust.
And so every day was a playoff practice. Coach Riley pushed me to places that I didn't think I could go. And Jeff Van Gundy was the first player development coach that I'd ever seen. So before practice, Charlie and I would have to lift for 40 minutes, then get on the court for 40 minutes with Jeff, and then we had a 3-hour practice. And so that group understood how hard it was, and all of those guys put their arms around me and Charlie and Doug. And that was a group that would, their wives saw how young we were. I'll never forget Chris Rivers. Like she just walks up to me after a game. She says, "Monty, I'm Chris Rivers. I'm Doc's wife. You're always welcome in our home. We typically leave our door unlocked and you can come over anytime." And so I knew Austin and Jeremiah and Callie and like Spencer. Like I knew them when they were babies because my veterans were older. They were in their 30s. And I was a young buck coming in. That group was so influential for me. They probably helped me develop a work ethic. They helped me to understand the league a little bit, as much as I could understand it. But when I got into coaching, I was really impacted by what they taught me because I had this reference point of what it used to be like. And then as you said, I'm transitioning into this newer generation and the different changes in basketball, but I could always look back to that as a reference point of how hard you had to work to just survive in the league.
How important is that to lean? Because I've said it before, how important is it to lean on those vets? Because they've seen it, they've done it at the highest level. And you mentioned it before, they know what you're going through.
Yeah. I think for me, it was interesting. Those guys could talk to me in a way that got my attention. It wasn't always tough love, but when it was tough love, I just had to take it. There are times when I watch vets today trying to talk to the young players. I'm not quite sure they understand the intention. I think sometimes the younger players look at how somebody's saying something to them. Back then, I didn't have a choice. Like if Derek Harper told me to do something, I just did it.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that Hart would be ready to throw hands if he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like that was just, and it wasn't like personal. It was like,
they're trying to win.
We're trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
And so if he puts you in the game and you're not ready, like we're going to fight.
Yes.
Like that was what it was back then. And I had a clear understanding of how serious it was for them. They didn't take days off, and they didn't suffer people who came in the game and didn't know assignments. And so if you didn't know an assignment, they would literally get you taken out of the game. Like when I got traded to San Antonio, I'll never forget Avery Johnson getting me taken out of the game because I blew an assignment in the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I knew I messed up, but then when we got to the huddle, I absolutely knew I messed up because Avery was, get him out the game, he ain't ready.
For sure.
And I was like messed up because I was like Avery, you could have come to me, but when you realize that was another team that was trying to win a title, well, that forced me to work on my game. It first forced me to understand concepts and strategies better, because when you're young, if you're honest, like you're just thinking about your next contract.
Yeah.
But when you're playing on winning teams, you don't have that luxury. Like those guys are trying to win. So if you go in for 2 minutes, you better know how to X out on the backside. You better know when to box out. You better know where you're supposed to be on the side out of like you better know all that stuff.
Yep.
Because if you don't, those older guys would call you out before the coaches got to you. And that was really good for me because I understood it wasn't just a game for players.
You're an elite coach. And I think all those little things matter at the end of the day, because let's say you went to a young team. Are you paying attention to the detail as much as you would be because you were with the New York Knicks trying to win a championship or the San Antonio Spurs trying to win a championship? So those fine lines of like, you can't take that possession off.
Right.
Because we can't afford that.
Yeah. Every possession matters.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting though? Like, I look at my short time in Detroit, like you also have to have a level of sensitivity with or for the players that you have at the time. Like,
for sure.
As good as I may be as a coach, I failed there because I didn't apply the ability to adjust to a group that wasn't ready for how I coached in Phoenix.
Right.
Like the Phoenix group after the first year, like they were ready to go.
Yeah.
And so like all of our practices were like this, and this, and we were ready to play like playoff games like every night. It was cool.
Yeah.
When I got to Detroit, I didn't adjust that.
Yeah.
And so in that regard, like if you don't win a title, you fail as a coach. That's just part of it. It's not like a bad thing. You can learn from that. When I was in Detroit, I failed miserably because I didn't adjust until later on in the season. And by that time, I had inundated them with like longer shoot-arounds and you should know this concept. And I was like, man, I didn't realize it until it was further along in the season. And then I had to pull it back. But that was a huge failure for me in that regard. And it was, for me, it was a level of growth that I needed to make as a coach.
Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with admitting that, because I think coaches, as lonely as it is being a head coach, it's freeing when you can admit when you've blown it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Because I'm not I'm not the dude that like you can walk up on me and be like, man, you got a raw deal here, you got a raw deal. I'm like, look, man, I fire guys all the time. Like when I change the rotation and I pull a guy out, I fired that guy.
Yeah.
When I take a guy out of the starting lineup, I fired that guy. And I never go into those decisions lightly because I understand it because it happened to me. So if I get fired from a position, like I can't be that upset or hold on to that anger.
Yeah.
Because I've had it done to me, but I've also done it way more.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you've been in that position as a player, you get it. And so for me, it's like the growth that takes place whether it's getting fired or getting demoted or not winning in the finals, like those are areas that, for me anyway, if I come clean about it and understand where I need to grow, that can be a beautiful thing.
1000%.
I know you had one of my favorite quotes during I think it was our finals run. Everything that you want is on the other side of hard.
Yeah.
Literally like one of my favorite quotes.
Big time.
How do you face those adversities and those hard moments, getting fired, firing people, getting put in situations that's sometimes not your fault?
Yeah.
You know?
That particular phrase, everything you want is on the other side of hard, came after I lost my first wife, because everything happened so abruptly. You know, one minute I'm getting ready for a game in OKC, and I think it was New Orleans coming to town, and then I get the phone call that no one ever wants to get. And after the funeral was over and everybody went back to their homes, it was just me and my 5 kids. And every night I would go, my girls were a bit older, so I'd let them stay up till like 10, whatever. And me and the boys would go to bed around 8:30. And the boys would sleep with me. And I would literally have Micah in my armpit and Elijah would sleep right here on my side. And once they fell asleep, I would slide out of my bed and I would go into my closet and I would lay on the floor in the dark and try to figure out, like, how did I get here? And to make a long story short, but you'll get it, I was just ready to check out. Not check out like do something drastic. I was like gonna be gone. I was gonna pack my kids up, go out west, buy 1,000 acres, raise my dogs, fish, and just kind of get away from it. And God in his graciousness kept bringing people to encourage me, whether it was Christine Donovan bringing cookies and leaving them on the side of the house, or Ayanna Lawson calling to check on me, or Sam Presti coming by the house, or Avery Johnson calling me, telling me I needed a cook, and Tandra Ward calling me, telling me I needed a housekeeper. Like, all of those encouragements allowed me to get past the hard. And the hard for me was moving forward with my family, going to San Antonio, allowing people to help me, as opposed to like doing my own thing because I could rationalize stuff. I had enough money to get away from it and just kind of go do my thing.
Just go.
And that was the hard for me. The hard was allowing people to help me, because up until that point, it was just Ingrid and myself. I'll never forget the conversation Pop and I had on the phone the day after she passed. He called me and he was wanting to get up there and catch a flight to come see me. And I'm on the phone with him and he kept saying, "Mont, you got to let people help you. You got to let people." And he just kept saying it to the point where I got upset. Well, he had been around me long enough to know that that was the only person that boy trusted. And he knew that it was going to take a lot of people, a lot of prayer, a lot of encouragement to get me past the hard. And so I would just sit in the closet and just talk to God, like, what do I do? You know, I don't know how to raise 5 kids. I got to go to doctor's appointments now. I'm filling out applications. I'm going to PTA meetings. I'm at Carline. You know, I'm doing stuff that I never had to do as consistently. And then I had to walk away from something that I really, really loved. And so Pop and RC offered me an opportunity to come to San Antonio and make my own schedule and take care of my kids, but still be in it. All of those encouragements, all of those people praying for me, all of the family members that called to check on me was what helped me get past hard. And that's where that statement came from. And I can't imagine my life had I done what I wanted to do. Because I was literally just going to pack up my kids. I was in OKC. I was going to head out west, and no one would ever hear from me again, which was my plan anyway. Because I didn't really I wasn't the guy that thought about playing in the NBA when I was a kid. So I certainly didn't think about coaching. So when all of this stuff came about, I was like, man, this is pretty cool, you know? So when that happened to me, I was just going to go back to what I thought was going to be my life anyway, and just kind of get away from it. Well, I think that would have been a huge mistake, and I would have hurt not only myself and my kids. And so that statement, everything you want is on the other side of hard, that came from that time, kind of sitting in my closet. And then watching God just bring people into my life to just say, Mont, you're doing too much. Get a cook.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need a cook. I got cereal, Chick-fil-A down the street. Like, I got this covered. You know what I'm saying? Like ramen, I had it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would do it, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to listen to what Pop is telling me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the hard for me, was allowing people to help me.
Yeah.
You've been talking about Pop a lot. Talk about
him, man.
Growing up in that Spurs organization.
Yeah.
The top tier. Best of the best.
Best of the best, for sure. I mean, he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell he's a hard coach, but he's a personable coach.
Yeah.
You could just tell from the outside. I've never met him or anything, but I could just tell, So he touches people.
Yeah.
And he's very personal with every single person that comes through that building. So your experience and what he means to you.
Yeah. I think for me, he traded for me because he was the GM when I was in New York. And so when he made that trade, I think it was 96 for Charles Smith, I was like a part of that trade. I had no idea what that would turn into. Like, it was the first time I'd lived in San Antonio. I went for one game when I was with New York the previous year, but I didn't spend any time there. But I got a chance to see a different level of leadership that reminded me of my high school coach. Pop, people look at, they look at Pop like he's a tough, hard-nosed coach. I never saw it that way. There were times where he was hard on me, but I had a veteran named Will Perdue. I was going through it with Pop. Like, he was on me a lot. And back then, we were coached hard. Like, that was just part of it. But this was, like, for me, a different level, because I thought my NBA career would be a bit different. And I'll never forget sitting on the plane one time, having Will Perdue tell me, like, Mont, like, he sees something in you. And it just kind of clicked for me. And so I think from that conversation, I viewed him differently. But I'd never had a coach be tough on me in one setting at practice and then call me in the evening to take me out to eat. And we'd sit at dinner and talk about family and faith and our backgrounds. And he was so stinking intentional about it. And it was not just me, it was everybody.
Yeah.
Like, he was like that with everyone across the board, like David, Sean, Avery, me, Corey. Like, that was just who he was. And he was teaching me how to be a head coach back then. I didn't even understand it, but I was learning how to be a coach or how to look at coaching back then while he was trying to help me with my career.
Yeah.
And I don't think there have been many big decisions that I've made in my life since I met him, and especially when I left San Antonio, that I've made without calling him.
Yeah.
Like, whether it was, should I sign with this team? Should I take this job? Or if there was something going on with my family and I needed some advice from a different perspective, I'm always able to call him. And so for me, he's, people throw around the father figure thing a lot. He's been that in some periods of my life. He's been a mentor. He's been a guy that I can vent to. He's also been the guy that'll call me and tell me, like, hey, don't say that in the media anymore. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? He's like, yes, that sounded stupid. Don't do it again. And I'd be like, okay. Like, for me, it was the truth.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew it, but then he'd call me and I'm like, dang it, I see it. I'm like, pop. And I'd get on the phone, he'd be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And I've learned to value that. Like, when you're a head coach or when you're in a position of leadership, you don't need people around you that are just going to tell you what you want to hear. Like, you value people to look you in the eye or call you and tell you, like, Mont, stop.
Yeah.
And he's always been that for me. And I'd feel really good about it if it was just me, but I've seen it with so many people. And so I kind of cringe when I see guys talk about, the Spurs in a certain way, or they talk about people playing, games and all that. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like, the guys that were there will tell you that he coached me hard.
Yeah.
But there was a part of that hard coaching where I knew that guy cared about me and he cared about my career. And I was like, what more do you want in a coach? You know, everything that he told me helped me further my career. Everything that he taught me helped me as a head coach. And a lot of what he taught me helped me become a better father, a better husband, a better friend, and he helped me to think about things that I never looked at. And so for me, he's obviously one of my favorite people in my life, in the world.
Yeah.
But my relationship with him is so much more than
just
basketball.
Yeah, that's big time. How many years you get in the league?
I retired in my 10th year, and I have like huge regret because I wish I would have like just taken when I first hurt my knee, I wish I would have just taken the year off. But I had that insecure macho nonsense and it cost me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as soon as I was done, again, Pop, like he told me straight up, he's like, you weren't an all-star, you don't have a big name. And so if you want to do this thing, you better get into it right now.
Yeah.
And so I went straight from retirement right into like learning how to coach.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have this gap.
Got
you know, I didn't go travel around the world and then come back and get into coaching. Like I went straight from playing right into it.
That's what I was going to ask you is like, because we've talked about this a lot here on the pod, is like that process, the transition, guys struggle with that.
Yeah.
So was there ever a time that you thought about coaching? Did you think about anything else? Or was it just Pop, just like, all right, you need a coach?
I just didn't. Like I wasn't a kid that thought about the NBA until I got to college. Like when I was in high school, I was really worried about if I could play in college. Then when I got to college, I was just like focused on that. I had to have other people tell me. My high school coach told me, he was like, man, you may have a chance to go hardship. That was what we called it back in the day. If you went early, you could go hardship. And so that's when I started to like think about it more.
Yeah.
I got into coaching. Doc Rivers is probably the first person that told me I was going to be a coach when I played for him in Orlando. And I was like, you're nuts. Like, there's no way I would do what you're doing. And then when I was done, I was at Dr. Andrews' office in Birmingham, and I called my wife, and then I called Pop. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I don't know. I just hadn't thought that far. And he was like, well, why don't you just come to the gym and see if you like it. You live here in the off season anyway, so why don't you come? And so he and RC just opened up the door for me. And I started out in coaching. I went to the gym every single day and I just sat in the corner of the Spurs old practice site and I just watched. Because in my head, I didn't know what a coach's day looked like. I knew what a player's day was like. Like I knew what I had to do and I knew how long my day was. You know, it was typically 4 or 5 hours at the gym. You come back at night and shoot if you chose to, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Well, when I was watching Bud and New and PJ and Brett, like Brett was the guy that was instrumental for me, Brett Brown. He was the one that took me under his wing and kind of showed me the ropes. But I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I sat there for probably 3, 4, 5 months and just took notes. And then after that period, they started to ask me, did I want to go on scouting trips? And I was like, sure, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, they would just send me to go to this place and go to this place. And you can't imagine how many times I got lost going to see a kid in like some school I'd never heard of. And I'd write a report and I'd come back. And then I did that a few times. And then the next thing you know, they invited me to coach Summer League. And so it was this progression from watching to kind of see what a coaching day looked like, to going on a few scouting trips, to coaching Summer League. And then next thing you know, I'm working with Brett in player development. And then we happened to win the title that year in 2005, like 7-game series against Detroit.
Yep.
And after that, a few opportunities came my way. And I ended up going to Portland to coach with Nate McMillan, and that totally changed my life. But coaching for me, I didn't make a lot of money when I started. I thought for me, the education that I was getting just being in that gym every day was way more than a paycheck.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the first 7 or 8 months, I don't think I made any money.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in this unbelievable environment. I was learning, and I had old head coaches around me that would check me when I was like off base.
Yeah.
And then they started to pay me a little bit of money, but the money really didn't matter because I was learning like a new way of life from a basketball sense.
Right.
And then the opportunity in Portland opened up, and that totally changed my life.
Even when you were assistant in Portland, did you even think head coach then?
I didn't really think. I thought about it just because I wanted to be like Pop.
Got you.
I wanted to get in that club, if you will, because I really enjoy like practice.
Gotcha.
It sounds crazy, but like practice was like, I just love practice. I love like writing practice plans. I love drills. I love to see guys come in and get better. Like that was really cool for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that. Managing a game and like all the stuff that went along with that, like I was like, man, I got a ways to go. I have no clue.
Yeah.
Going to Portland, Nate McMillan gave me a chance to fail and learn and fail and learn and fail and learn. He gave me so much responsibility that I did not deserve. Like I went from behind the bench to second assistant with him. And
that's a jump.
It's a huge jump.
That's a jump.
Like I look back on that and I'm like, I think when Nate and I talk, like not every conversation, but from time to time, I just say, Nate, man, thank you so much, man. Like what you did for me in Portland. Because back then staffs were smaller, so it was only like 4 or 5 coaches. So I probably Nate had me do 15 teams. I had 15 scout teams.
Yep.
Then I had player development, and back then we had Martell Webster, Travis Outlaw, Zach Randolph, Darius. Like we had a bunch of young guys that needed attention. Then we drafted Brandon and LaMarcus, and so you're helping out with all of these guys along with the other coaches. That experience for me playing in Portland with a young rebuild, all of our games were at 10:30 at night on the East Coast, so nobody saw us, so you could fail without any exposure. You know what I'm saying? It was the best thing for me.
I remember those times.
It was unbelievable. And so when people started to talk about me being a head coach, I was still of the mindset that I'm learning, and I'm not quite sure I'm ready, but I was getting interviews and talking to people. But as much as San Antonio helped me, being with Nate in a rebuild probably helped me more than anything because I got to see.
You got thrown in the fire.
I got thrown in it. And I got to see that level of leadership. That program in that city can never pay Nate enough adulation for what he did for them. Like it was in a bad place. And no disrespect to the players that were there before, like it was just in a bad place. And when they hired him, that was when that thing changed. And everything that's Rip City and all the stuff that they do now, like that was in part like revitalized by the work that Nate McMillan did at that place.
So you did how many in Portland?
I was there 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
So it was Portland, New Orleans.
And then OKC as an assistant.
Phoenix.
So I went from OKC and then Pop offered San Antonio for a couple years, and then I went to Philly.
Oh, you were in Philly?
I was in Philly. I mean, it's such a horrible memory for us, but it was the Kawhi shot. Like I was, I'm sitting right there watching, like that whole play was just like, you know, watching that ball on the rim. Like I got a bird's eye view, man. That ball fell through the rim, and I was like, I'm out. Like this is crazy.
So we're gonna go down the line. First, how special was Brandon Roy? These kids, that's out here at these camps,
they
have
have
no
idea.
It's like the strangest conversation when you talk to people, and he's already like forgotten. Like, but guys who coached and played when he played, like we all know, like you rarely get a chance to coach a guy that young that has absolutely no weakness in his game. Like that was B-Roy. I hadn't been around the only guy that I knew at that age that had that level of poise and that level of like killer in him was Tim Duncan. And that's a heavy statement
That's
to
a heavy
compare
statement.
those guys
Yeah.
to. But Brandon was like, he was that nasty.
Yeah.
And I just remember like getting him in the draft, and I coached the summer league.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget I was playing him off the ball. And it was a tight game, and then finally, I had this bright idea to give him the ball, or he just went and got it. He probably went and got it, and he just controlled the whole game. And it was like, this dude's a rookie.
Yeah.
And in real time, I saw it, but I really didn't see it. After the game, Nate McMillan's like, Mont, that dude's a point guard. And I was like, really, Nate? He's like, Mont, he just controlled the whole. He's like, Nate's like, dude, you're coaching, you don't notice? I'm like, Nate, I didn't see it. Then I started to see him that way. Back then it was like Kobe, Dwayne Wade. Like those were the hallmark, like two guards. I think Wade is a monster, and he doesn't get enough credit for how good he was. Like people don't even talk about him the way that they should.
Not at all.
But I dare say that like Brandon on some nights was probably right on Wade's heels, and maybe some nights ahead of him. Like that was the stretch he had.
Yeah.
Like, and he wasn't like in Kobe's world.
Yeah.
But doggone, man, he was headed that way. Like there were times, man, it's rare to sit on the sideline and coach and help your head coach and manage the bench. And you're sitting there watching a guy with the ball make defenders quit.
Yeah.
Like he was so patient. He was big, he was strong. He'd put it on your head. He could shoot the three, he'd shoot the mid-range, up and under, step through. Like he had everything. And then he'd go down there and block shots. He could rebound. And I was just like, man, if this dude didn't get hurt.
Yeah. He was special.
I'm not one to throw around the GOAT stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's a huge conversation, but he would have been one of the all-time greats.
He would have been one of them.
He was just that good.
Yeah.
Like from the jump. Like
just naturally.
Natural.
Yeah.
Like, and a great dude, competitive, nasty. Like when it was time to like put teams away.
He knew. Give him the ball and move
Give
out
him
the way.
the ball and get out of the way. And Nate was so great. Nate was just like, we had a turn two. That was the play. Nate would just go turn two. And we give him that ball at the elbow. And this was when like threes weren't that big of a deal.
Just go to work.
The two was the deal. That combination, if it could have like played out with him and LaMarcus and Greg Oden and Travis Outlaw, like Nicholas Batum, like people forget like how many young studs we had on that team.
Yeah, that team.
Him and LaMarcus, man, like that would have been a pairing that would have been hard to match.
How important was LA to Portland?
LaMarcus was like one of the most underrated players. Forget power forward.
Easily.
Like people forget like LA was like unguardable.
Yes.
For years.
Years.
Like he and I would have like these really cool conversations because he would just, he wouldn't complain to me, but he'd come to me sometimes and I'd be like, LA, you're going to play 15 years, 16, you're going to play 17, you're going to make just play. And he, I had a really good relationship with him, but it was so cool to see guys work their tails off and become like, and really earn it.
Yeah.
Because like when we were there, like by all accounts, it was Brandon's team.
Yes.
It was turning into that. But that didn't mean LA wasn't a dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when Brandon got hurt and then LA kind of like, no one talks about it.
Nobody.
We talk about the great power forwards and there's so many of them and he's not in it. He was unguardable.
Yeah, he was.
If you can tell me a guy that could guard LA, I would challenge you on that. Not only that, like he had a motor, he could run all day. His pick and pop was like ridiculous. His post game was like
very valid.
He had everything.
Everything.
And
he took a midi, you thought he made it every time.
Literally.
It was just this flick.
It was just a flick.
If you shook his hands, you get it. 'Cause his hands are just like massive frying pans.
Yeah.
And they were soft and he was so good and he was tough. He grew into like, he came in, he was relatively skinny compared to where he was later in Portland and in San Antonio. And he just worked.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the summer after his rookie year, seeing him when he got back for his second year. I was like, wow, this kid is ready. He came into and back then, like pickup before the season was like
real deal.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That was when guys started to stake their claim to get ready for camp.
Got you.
And he came in and was like, it's gonna be a season.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
He was a bad boy.
Yeah,
so it was Portland and New Orleans.
Yeah.
Did you have rookie Chris?
No, I had Chris at
his
I
third
think
year?
year 6, maybe.
Year 6?
Yeah, because he was
Well, yeah,
with us
'cause he
one
was
year
way
and went
early.
to the Clippers.
Oh, yeah.
So Chris was like, Chris and D West are the reason that people thought I could coach in New Orleans. I could draw up stuff. Man, I'd draw up something bad and Chris would just go out there and make it happen.
Yeah.
He was Chris. And there were times where I thought like, man, I'm in his way a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I had to kind of back off. And I had a couple of coaches that kind of told me like, Coach, you got to let him do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized the importance of having good players. Like all coaches do their best. No, there's not a coach in the NBA that tells their team, hey, I hope you guys show up late tomorrow. I hope you two don't get back on defense. And I hope you three cuss out, you know, several people in the – like nobody does that. All coaches work their tails off. They run good stuff. But you need players to execute.
Yeah.
Like Chris is one of those guys that can make stuff look really, really good. And I didn't really get it until he went to the Clippers, D West went to Indiana, and I'm drawing up the same stuff, and it doesn't look the same.
It's not getting executed the right way. Yeah.
So you get humbled that way. But I've had the blessing of coaching him there and Phoenix, and I can just tell you, like he's a huge part of any success I've had as a head coach. Is in part the blessing of God, but for sure having Chris as my point guard and somebody that I can rely on to run stuff, tell me the truth, give me a different perspective, tell me to back off when I'm on a player too much.
Yeah.
Like he's meant the world to my career.
Talking about that, what does it mean from you, the word overcoaching? What does that mean?
Great question.
I think there are times, I can't speak for everybody else. I think for myself, it probably comes from a level of insecurity. When I think I need to challenge a guy because he's doing something that I think is a bit much. And so then for me, I have to go show everybody that I'm in charge. And so then I go overcoach that guy. But then there's another part of it where if I draw up a play or if I want the guys to run something, if they don't do it exactly the way that I want them to, then I'm browbeating them on doing it the way I want them to. Yeah. And then sometimes guys can become a bit rigid and hesitant with that kind of coaching. And for me, that level of overcoaching hurts not only that guy, but then your players on the bench are watching, and then they're like, dang,
I'm not going to do the same thing because he's going to do that to me.
I'm not going to explode. I can't afford that. I'm on a 1-year contract, so I'm going to do exactly what he just told me to do. And that dude is crazy because he's going to tell me everything black and white, straight up black coffee. That part of overcoaching was what I did in New Orleans, especially when Chris and D West left. I was probably overcoaching way too much. Like if they didn't do it the way I wanted them to, I was like on them.
Yeah.
By the time I got to Phoenix, I was like, I needed to back off, and I had Book.
Yeah.
And so I had Book without Chris. I had Ricky and Book were the backcourt. Yeah. And I was like, I can't stifle his talent with overcoaching.
Gotcha.
And so many times I would just have to just get out of the way.
Gotcha.
Because Book can make stuff look good.
Yeah.
Like that's just I would draw up stuff, and I in my mind, and the guys who knew the play, they knew that wasn't the play. Book just made it look better than what I drew up. Like he's that kind of guy.
Yeah. And you said it. You got to have the players to do it.
Got to have the players.
You got to have the players to do it.
There's no shame in that.
There's no shame in it whatsoever.
It's like, I think we all know it as coaches. Like, I've been paid a lot of money in my basketball career, my coaching career. In my coaching career, for sure, if you don't have the players that can execute the things that you work on it, you go home, you study, you talk to other coaches, you go to camps, you learn from other people, you do your job. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have the players that are committed to your plan, but also have the ability and the confidence to be themselves within that plan, because I've always felt like my plan is this, incubation of whatever it is that can help the organization. The players expand that plan. Mm-hmm. Like talent expands the plan, in my opinion. You could have the greatest plan in the world, and if you don't have the guys that can execute it, it won't matter. Right? Because like I said, like all of the coaches in the NBA are the best in the world. Yeah. I don't care about all this other stuff they're talking about. All these guys, I'm not trying to disrespect coaches overseas, but I know, in my opinion and what I've seen in the NBA, we have the best. Mm-hmm. Well, we also have the best players. Yeah. And the best players make the best coaches look really, really good.
For sure. I wanted to ask you this, and we try to give everybody a perspective of every obstacle they could go through. You were assistant coach going to your first interview to be a head coach in New Orleans. How did you prepare, and how did you approach that whole situation?
I think for me, it was the interviews before that allowed me to be somewhat ready for the opportunity in New Orleans. Like, I'll never forget, and I've thanked him for it before. Like, I was young when I got the job in New Orleans, but I was really young when I talked to Steve Kerr about the job in Phoenix. And back then, you could have a phone interview. Like, we didn't have Zoom or Teams or any of that stuff. You just talked on the phone to someone. And I'll never forget, like, I think I talked to Steve like one time. And in my mind, I was like in the running for the job because there was no social media, so you didn't hear all the stuff that you hear today. And he called me back, maybe it was a day, two later, a week later, I don't know. But he called me back and he was like, Mont, I'm going to be straight with you. You're not ready for this job. This is a big time team. We got a bunch of vets and I just don't want to waste your time anymore. And that meant the world to me that he would be that honest with me. But it also made me think about my approach to interviews, because I must have said something or put off something that made him think that I wasn't ready for that. Or maybe he just thought because of the makeup of the team at the time that I wasn't ready. But I think for me, like, as much as I prepared for an interview, I didn't prepare for an interview until I got the call that I had the interview.
Got you.
Like, I didn't think it was fair to the head coach and to the team that I was being employed by to get ready for a job that I didn't have. Right. Like Brett Brown taught me a long time ago, the best job you have is the one you have at the present time. Yeah. And once I got the call that a team wanted to talk to me, then I dove into like team study and all this other stuff that allowed me to walk into an interview and talk to them about their team.
Got you.
And for me, when I go into an interview, I try my best to convey who I am so they know what they're getting into. Because the last thing I want to do is portray something that's not me. Yeah. And then I get the job and then they're like, oh my gosh.
This is what we signed up for.
Yeah, it's like, even in leadership, like when I've had head coaching positions, like the first few weeks, you get to see like everybody's good foot, but eventually I'm going to see both feet. And that's when I kind of know what I'm dealing with. I think when I have a chance to interview, I try my best to let them know who I am. And I've lost opportunities because I conveyed something that teams didn't like. Yeah. But I was like, even though you're hurt, that's fine. I'd rather we know now. Yeah. Then I get into a position that's not comfortable for any of us.
Yeah, agreed. Going into that, and then going to Philly, how special was that team? That was a really good basketball team.
It was like one of those, I tell like we all talk basketball, and I'm a basketball, like, I wouldn't say I'm a basketball junkie out loud, but I am. Like, I just love what I've been able to do all of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do it as long as we have, like, we all have like regrets about things, or we all think about like missed opportunities. That to me was like an opportunity that we didn't take advantage of.
Yeah.
Like, that team, you could say they didn't have many weaknesses at all. Like Joel, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, JJ Redick, Tobias Harris. Like, that was our starting five.
Yeah. Oof.
You're talking about tough, high IQ, confident, bravado.
Yeah.
Like, every time you walked into a gym with that team, you felt like you had a chance to not only win, but like win convincingly.
Yeah.
Easily. Mm-hmm.
And Brett Brown was the coach for it. We had a really good bench. We just ran into Toronto, and we ran into a moment. You know what I mean? Like, that was a moment that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Kawhi hit a shot that'll, be replayed for the rest of basketball history. But that particular team was one of those teams that you feel like you could be a conference finalist with that team.
For sure.
Like, once you get to the conference finals, you feel like everybody's got a shot.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to get to the conference finals. Like, once you get there, you're like, okay, all four of us have a shot at this. You know what I mean? Like, that was a team that I felt like, not easily, but we could convincingly get to the conference finals without any
second
excuse.
Round?
Yes.
And who they played the next round? You remember? Was it Milwaukee?
I don't know.
I can't remember
because
either.
I just gotten the job in Phoenix, and so I left. I literally left Toronto, and I think I went to Philly for a quick second, and then I was gone to Phoenix. So I don't know.
Man, I mean, it's crazy because those moments, and you realize how long that team might have stayed together if that shot don't go in.
If that shot don't, that
changed a lot.
You know what it speaks to? It's like, we all have this, and I'm probably the worst at it. Like, we all have this idea that once you get to a certain spot, you feel like you're going to get back there automatically.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this thing we go through as athletes and coaches.
Yeah.
And that's the regret I have about that particular opportunity. It was like, that team, I felt like, had a chance to win a title. You can't, unless you're one of those teams that, like Golden State had that run, you were just like, man, they're going to be in the finals again. Like,
sure.
If you're that kind of team, you can kind of see it. But the rest of us teams in that category, you think you got a shot at competing. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people talk about it, but there's only a few real teams in the league that really have a shot at competing for a big opportunity.
You get the opportunity in Phoenix, you get to Phoenix, up and down to start with, but y'all get invited to the bubble. The bubble happens. Did you see the switch of it was like the switch of the whole organization. I mean, it was
like
not
night and day.
Talk, but it was one of the biggest things in the bubble. That y'all were right there.
Yeah.
But from there on, on the ground run, did you see it? Did you feel it?
I can't say that I saw it like in real time, but when I look back on it, there were certain things that happened before the bubble. Like, because of COVID, we had to have like all these organized workouts, and they were like, this coach on this floor, this coach on this floor with this player, and then we had like time slots. And at the time, the arena was being worked on, so we were at the old Phoenix arena. And like, all of our guys were showing up every day to get work in. So for us, we played up until the COVID shutdown, and then we had those weeks off, and that was kind of like our off season. And so all of our young guys got a chance to kind of absorb what we were teaching, and they grew as players. They worked their tails off. Mikhail and Cam and DA and all those guys just got better. Book was working on his game, and I'll never forget, we weren't quite sure we were going to get in, because they were like, we're going to take 16 teams. It was a number that they were going to like cap it. And then I think they moved it to like 22. And I think we were like 21.
Yeah.
Like Robert Sarver called me and he's like, I think we're going to get in. And then when we got in, I got a text from Book. I was leaving the arena because we had just finished workouts. I got a text from Book and he was like, let's go. You know, you could just see that
excitement.
in his text.
Yeah,
like, he was ready.
excitement.
And so when we got there, it was a totally new world for everybody. Like we started with like 5 or 6 guys because there were so many guys in quarantine.
Yeah.
And so we as coaches just had 6 guys and we played one-on-one tournaments. We shot, we did all kinds of stuff, but everybody was so stinking locked in that once we got a player back, we got 2 players back. Next thing you know, like our practices were some of the best practices I've ever been a part of in my life. Like unbelievable practices. And then you remember like we had slots at night where you could go back and work out. And we shared the gym with Sac. And Sac had like a couple guys, 2 or 3 guys come.
Yep.
We would have like our whole team, like every night come to the gym and we would get it in. We'd have another one-on-one tournament. We'd get up shots. MB and I would limp around the gym jogging and I was watching it like in real time and I wasn't doing anything. Like the coaches, Willie had the gym popping, like it was amazing. And you kind of felt it a little bit. Yeah. But then when we started playing, as good as Book is and was, I thought like that was not his coming out party because that's a little like, you know, not dramatic, but because he's always been good.
Right.
But that was like.
But it was translating to wins.
It was like, I was so stinking happy for him because I got tired of hearing people talk about like, you know, stuff they would say about him. And I was like, now you can't say that anymore. Yeah. Because the shot that he hit against the Clippers, like that was like if you knew the progression of that play, like I actually ran the play for Mikal to go back door. And I told Book, I said, because he had been killing, I said, Book, they're not going to let you get the ball. In the huddle, I'm like, they're not going to let you. So, like, I'm going to use you as a decoy. And he hated that. Yes. And I was trying to get, like, a back door to Mikal. Well, they, you know, it's Kawhi, it's Paul, like, their defense was crazy. Yeah. So he goes and gets the ball, and you talk about, like, getting out of the way and letting the dude do what dudes do. Like, that was when he did it.
Iconic shot.
It was unreal.
So iconic.
I mean, he just laying there like this, looking like, and then he probably looked at you like.
It was so cool, man. Like, and the crazy part, like, I'm over there acting like a 3-year-old, man. I'm like, and people they think I drew that mess up. I'm like, that, and I was like, straight, I was like, I did not draw that up. That was Book. But the funniest part was if you look at the bench, Mark Bryant doesn't move. And if you know MB, man, like he is the most steady, cool, he just contemplates everything. Like he was just like, it wasn't a big deal to him. Even though it was, we killed him the next day because everybody's acting a fool, Book's on the floor, the players dive on him, and MB's just sitting there watching. And so the next day in film session, man, we let him have it. But
for sure,
the bubble was cool because of that part. But the things that we did away from the floor, it was like, like we went swimming as a team. Like the guys played, they used to have this game where you threw the ball into this net and it would come up.
That's
spike ball or something like that. Like they would play that for hours. Yeah, I was fishing with Mikal and different guys who had never fished before. Yeah, and we would sit out there and I'd teach them how to fish and we talk. Like it was one of those
culture changers.
It was big time. Like and we had this triangle. Like we had hotel, the gym, and some guys went to the golf course, but that was like our deal. Like we lived within that ecosystem. Yeah. And our group just got tight. Yeah. I'll never forget, like all the guys were in the pool one day and they're just after practice, they're out there and I was fully clothed. And I had my shoes on and I just took off and sprinted and like dove into the pool. And there was other people out there, man, just like workers and whatnot, and the players went nuts. And it was almost like they needed to see me kind of do something goofy. And like get 100%. Outside of my coaching thing.
100%.
And I could just go like story after story after story after story. Like it was so stinking cool.
That's a good group.
And then just to carry over to when Chris gets there.
Yeah.
And we were just talking to Marcus Spears on, I could see the best teams, you are player-led teams. You could tell that team was player-led, the team that got to the finals.
Yeah.
And you were at the Knicks again. Details, but you had a bunch of guys that held each other accountable.
Yeah.
How special was that group?
Those guys, we had a crew of young guys that just got it.
Yep.
Mikhail and Cam, like they were just guys that just they got it. We also had like Chris and Book and Jay Crowder, like those guys like kept that group together. DA doesn't get enough credit for his play that year. Like people talk about it a little bit now, but like DA was
elite.
Like a monster.
Yeah.
Elite.
And they police themselves. I would have to like, I think I probably managed more than handled stuff. Because there's always stuff you have to handle.
Yeah.
But that group was so focused on just winning, and they were close. It was one of those basketball situations that you just thought like, I could do this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out that way, but that was like my mindset.
Yep.
Because of the guys. And to your point, when you have a Chris calling you at night to tell you to ease up on a guy, when you have Chris calling you to say like, Coach, we need a day off. Like Book played 57 minutes, you know, whatever he said, like those things meant the world to me. The relationship that I had with Book, like Book is competitive. He's not afraid of anything. I could coach him. There were times where we would, you know, I'd have to, you know, I had to do my job.
Yeah.
He understood that. He would bite back at me every once in a while, and then the next day he'd come right in and be like, "Let's go, Coach."
Yeah.
Like those are the experiences as a coach. Looking back on it, I probably didn't value it enough. Because you fall into that mindset that this is going to be like this forever. And you never know when it's going to change.
How important is it from a coach standpoint to have energy?
I think energy is really important. I would say spirit is probably more important. Because there's going to be a time when you run out of energy. But when teams lose spirit, like that's when it goes.
Oh, it's done.
It's done. Like when you're in the playoffs and everybody, you know, not everybody, but some of your contemporaries are not in the playoffs and they're posting what they're doing. And it's, you know, you've had some success, like, and you're out of energy, like you need spirit. And the spirit piece to me is part connection. It's part, I got your back. It's part, I can tell you the truth. It's all of these things that allow us to like lock arms every day, and no matter what goes on, like we're together and I got your back. Like the spirit of your team can galvanize you on a day when your energy is really low. You know, coaches deal with it. You know, I don't think I lost that much weight in my life that I did during that run in the playoffs, because you're up more than you want to admit. You're thinking all night long about your choices or coverage or rotation, like those kinds of things. And that zaps your energy. And you're working on your diet, I'm working out, I'm doing all the stuff to allow me to be in a good mindset. But the spirit pieces can be an advantage for you if you can lock into that. If you can lock into that thing that brings us all together. If you can lock into understanding why that guy plays the way he does. If you can lock into like why he's motivated by this. Like those things to me create a good spirit on your team.
1000%. And I think that, as you mentioned, the spirit thing is huge. You could feel that. And not even trying to be funny, like when we played y'all in the playoffs in that game, we felt what y'all had that year before. We had that spirit that they had that whole run. You know what I'm saying? When y'all beat the Lakers, Clippers, that spirit was with us in that moment. So for you, in those moments, and you have a group that you are just really connected with, and then you go from the finals, then the next year, and then it's not the way you want to go. And you mentioned it with Philly. You think you're going to be right back there, and then you're not.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you get fired, and all this stuff happens. How are you handling this?
Yeah.
Where do you go, and how does somebody that will go through this, because somebody will.
Yeah.
Somebody probably went through it this year. Somebody going to go through it this year coming up. So how do you handle it?
Yeah.
And what's the best way to go about it?
That's a tough one. In those moments when you look back on it, I can only think about where I didn't help the guys get over the hump, because that's my job, no matter how you slice it. Like, if I'm going to get the credit for drawing up a play or making a rotation change or doing this that may help you win a game, I certainly have to take it on the chin when I know that I didn't do what I needed to do to help the team get over the hump, because that's essentially why they have you in that position as a head coach. It's for those moments.
Yeah.
I learned that with Coach K when I got to coach on the national team. Like, Coach K talked about moments. Like, we're doing all this to get ready for this moment. We're going to have a moment on this run.
Yeah.
And he knew exactly what needed to be done in that moment. And when I look back on it, I just didn't have it. I didn't do it. You know, I could sit here and rationalize some nonsense, but the reality is, like, that's on me.
Yeah.
Like, it's on me to make sure Chris has the package of plays to get us in a position to win. It's on me to free Book up. It's on me. I remember the play where Book throws the lob and Giannis blocks it. You know, if I talk about the spacing on that, or if I diagram that a little bit differently, like that was elbow backside, and Book did exactly what I wanted him to do, but I didn't have the spacing in a way that it could.
Yeah.
Like, if I would have said to Book, you know, stretch him out a little bit, he ran it exactly how I wanted to, and Giannis goes and makes a play that changes the history of the organization. Like those. And I'm not trying to sit here like I'm a martyr and take all of the blame. But I can only, if I'm going to call the players up the way that I do, I don't call players out, I call them up to their ability. If I'm going to do that, then I certainly have to be at the top of that list and admit, like, that's what I didn't do well. But then once you get to that place, like, you have to learn from it and flush it.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be a part of my life forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do this long enough, you're going to fail, you know,
for sure.
Unless your last name rhymes with Slopovich or Spur or Stolstra. Like, it's just a reality for the rest of us. And I think those things make you better as a coach. If you're vulnerable and you allow people around you to help you. Like, I've had Nate call me and tell me, like, don't do that. That wasn't on you. But when I get off the phone with Nate, I'm like, nah, it was me.
Yeah.
Because I know
you're in that moment.
I'm in that moment, and I know what I could have done to help. That's my job, to help him in that moment.
Right.
And like Coach K taught us when I was with the national team, he's like, we do all this to get us ready for these moments.
Yeah. And this has been unbelievable, Pod, and I appreciate you getting on again. This is something that I've wondered, and I want to ask you. How important is transparency to players?
Yeah.
And I want you kind of to explain, there's sometimes, I guess you can't be too, is there a way you can't be too transparent because you have to, you're still in the midst of the business?
Yeah.
But how important is that, do you think, in the midst of running a team and an organization?
I mean, I think the players would probably tell it better than me, but from my perspective, I don't know how you can be any other way. Like,
I agree.
I think the worst thing in the world for me as a player is to have a coach tell me something that wasn't true and that wasn't going to help me get better. Like, I didn't want a coach to tell me everything was okay when it wasn't, because I wasn't going to get better that way. I think for me, where I've had to grow, and hopefully I have, is the delivery of transparency is key.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way to convey a message, you know, and there's been multiple times where I've blown it, and it's been on, you know, TV or it's been on YouTube where I've had these moments where I was telling the guy what he needed to hear in real time. Because when you're in those moments, man, you don't have the time to go get a violin and a Hallmark card and write it up so a guy feels good about it. But there's also a way to convey a message, especially when you have equity with a player and equity with the team and you know who he is and you know if you say it a certain way, it's going to push a button that's going to make this player feel a certain way. Those are the moments where I wish at times I could have done a better job, but I don't regret being transparent, even if it's about him or if it's about me. And I think those are the things that bring us together, you know, in a safe place. Like, I think when we get together, like, that's what's so, like, weird to me now when I look at some of these podcasts and I see people talking about stuff that I think is sacred because we all have these boundaries. And when you're on a team, like, that's one of the coolest moments outside of your family, to be transparent with a brother and let him know why you're a certain way, why you coach a certain way, why I play a certain way, why I'm not feeling well today. He can be vulnerable. We can be transparent in a safe place, and then we grow from that because I understand him better. You know what I mean?
Understood.
And I think as coaches, some of us are better than others. It's something that I've had to hopefully develop over time. Like, the delivery of my transparency had to improve. But I don't think not being transparent is a good thing, because I always want players to kind of know where they are, but I also have to make it clear what I'm looking for from a player. And I think really good players and players who want to improve want to know that. But I also feel like there's levels of delivery based on who the player is or what the moment is. Now, there's sometimes, you know, this in a game, like, you don't have time for all that. You got to, like,
miss the battle.
You got to, like, dude, like, I got to get you out. It's not personal. I got to get you out. I get it. You hate me right now, but tomorrow will be cool. I get it. But right now, I got to make this decision.
I got to do my job.
I got to do my job. And it's not to hurt you, or I'm trying to help the team so that we all can have what we all really want.
Exactly. That's all I got. I mean, it's been great. Unbelievable podcast. You're good at it. You don't need to do another one now. You said all you need to say. They can just watch this one. I appreciate you, man. I do got one question for you. Harder to win, NBA Finals or National Championship?
Sheesh, that's a tough one, man, because the national, you mean the national championship game or the whole tournament?
Whole tournament. Whole NBA playoffs.
I still think it's the NBA because the length of it, the number of games that it takes to knock a team out, the travel, and not that college coaches don't make adjustments, because they do, but from quarter to quarter, from half to half, like, you could see a totally different defense. And then the next game you could see something totally different, you know.
And some teams save stuff to like game 3.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is something that is,
I didn't think about that.
I'm not quite sure if there's many things in sports that can deliver that level of intensity and
detail,
obstacle-laden territory where you're just like, man, this is hard. You know what I mean? Because, no disrespect to any college coach, like, to run the table in the NCAA tournament is stinking hard. I mean, it's just the way it is. Like, and you don't always have to be the best team to run the table.
That's true. That's true.
More times than not, in my opinion, the best team always wins in the NBA, just because you just have to do so much over a period of 2 weeks to knock somebody out.
Agreed.
So it's a hard one, but I still would lean towards the NBA championship.
Sure. Definitely put in a different perspective. I like that.
Hey,
I told y'all we getting bigger and better. We got Monty Williams on the pod. We got AJ on the pod. We got your boy TP on the pod. We appreciate all the love from the Running Race fam. We out of here.
Peace.